Alright, YouTube, I'm gonna do a unique unboxing with a story. That unboxing is the new PlayStation Mini. Some people getting tired of minis, but I don't mind. Nintendo, they saying they're not gonna bring the Mini 64, but you know how Nintendo is. Most of this information get leaked and they try to deny it and they still bring it out anyway. But let's talk about the PlayStation, shall we? This brought back some memories. Yes, it did. They got the box right, but this is not how the original box opened, okay? Uh, they didn't have this little folded in corners that bend words. The controller was not, it almost had it perfect. But this is how the back actually did look. They used to have like the game windows on here. Something that's crazy. They only had 20 games. At least Nintendo had like 30 or something. But 20 games preloaded, right? They have a weird choice listing. Okay, I don't know who picked out the games, but it's weird. Japan had a little bit better game selection. They got Arcalad, both games, but we got some of the classics. But some of the games we wanted that's not on it, and some of the choices is just beyond me. Like example, they got Battle Arena Toshinden. Not the sequel, which was better, or the third game that had all the characters, a huge selection. Probably one of the first fighting games to have so many characters in it. They got Cool Borders 2, though. They didn't put the first one, but they got it right with the sequel, because the sequel was better and we liked it better. So they put the first Destruction there. Not the second one, but the first one. That's weird, right? And at least they got Final Fantasy 7, but no 8. Like you got Final Fantasy 9 coming out for the Switch and all that, but you don't even put Final Fantasy 9 on here? And you already got that already. It's ready, what I'm saying? You've done it before. But Final Fantasy 7 is the classic, so that had to be on here, no matter what. The very first Grand Theft Auto. That's surprising, right? The over top view ones. That's a surprise. But once again, the sequel was better. Even the British was a little bit better. The UK version. I don't want to say the third, but like the UK expansion, however you want to say it. Excuse me. They got Intelligence Cube. Some people liked it. I didn't. But they threw it on it, right? You could put a classic on there, but you just don't throw that on it. Whatever. But Jumping Flash. Once again, the first one, not the sequel. The better, superior, the one that they boast about when they talk about PlayStation. Jumping Flash 2. The first one. Had to have Metal Gear Solid. Had to. Mr. Driller. I don't know why. I guess that's an easy one to get, and they was like, let's just put it on there. I don't know why. Once again, pushing off a classic that could have been on there. Oddworld, Apes Odyssey. Some people like it, some don't. It had a cult following. I was into it. Rayman, I had to put that on there. That's a classic. Resident Evil Director's Cut. This better be the Director's Cut, and not the one they messed up, claimed Director's Cut, and so they had to put out another a special edition Director's Cut. Right. Finally, a game that Persona Revelations. That's a huge memory of me. I remember renting it. It was so unique, That's probably like one of the very first Japanese games I had played that was brought to the West. But I loved it. A lot of people didn't know about it. I was one of the first people, to like it. Not once be like, oh, I like this game, and you ain't really played the first ones like that. Yeah. And it's the one that didn't come to the PSP. The PSP had the sequel that we didn't get here. Or, I don't know what the attachment was, but like, that instant they had the other personas, but they didn't have the Revelations for some odd reason on the PSP. Alright. Ridge Racer, Top 4, that's the best one. So that had to be on it. Some people wanted the first one on the second, but they got the 4. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo is a great choice, even though they brought it to like every known console in the world. Siphon Filter, the first one, I agree. That's a good choice. Tekken 3, the best one, but a lot of people's like, hey, Part 2 was the big news one, Why not put the second game on there as well? Because again, they could have got rid of Mr. Driller for that. Rainbow Six. I actually had Rainbow Six, but I didn't really get much into it at the time. I was just getting a backlog at that time with it. Twisted Metal. Yes, yes. Once again, it's the first one though. They didn't put the sequel, which was way superior and what people really wanted. But the first one's pretty good. And Wild Arms. Yes. Wild Arms, some great memories on that too. Once again, a lot of games that's missing. But if this is anything like the NES Classic or the SNES Classic, PlayStation Mini shouldn't be that hard to mod, right? It really shouldn't be. We should be able to get all the PlayStation games on them, including ones we couldn't get on the, especially that how what do you call that horror type fighting game that got held back, but it was finished. And then we got the little leak for it, but then they turned it into a Wu Tang four-player fighting game instead. Yeah, I can't think of the name of it, but that's wild, So PlayStation has a ton of classics, and I think they have like 800 type games, and some just crazy. There's no sports games. I mean, a lot of them, but I mean, you would think they'd have like a crazy, one sport game, a live one or something, but it's cool though. It is cool because I said it shouldn't be that hard to mod. I just had to get a better, bigger flash card. I still got the 16 gigs. Maybe that should be able to be a whole lot, but I think I need a big one to get all the games. But I'm out of the NES one, SNES. Still some games to be put on it. It sucks that Nintendo went after those two websites. That's crazy, right? But I mean, it is what it is. So let's get into like more to unboxing. I know I kind of straight off talk about the games they got on it, but it's crazy how what they picked and what they didn't pick. Oh man, I would never the controller. This brings back me the original OG PlayStation controller. It was so thin at the time, people didn't expect the concept of this controller, but it worked so well. This was one of my favorite controllers at the time when it dropped. It just felt right. Now let me show you the actual thing. So it's small. They did come out with a PlayStation 1, whatever you want to call it, that was small. Kind of crazy how the Xbox called this stuff Xbox One now, right? But PlayStation had a little miniature before this. It was like more smoother at the time. It was a white. So, but this is what the actual PlayStation looked like back then. I wish they did a little bit better when if you press the open button, it opened up and it had the classics take its time to fully open up. And it had a better feel than this. It didn't have a cheaper feel with the open. The other buttons, the power and all that, I wish you could press the power and it locks in, but it don't. I wish this little, like I said, open up and don't. Reset feels like reset. That's the only thing they did right. They could have done better with this, you know what I'm saying? But they got some stuff right. It came with two controllers, so that's a plus. You ain't gotta buy the other controller separate. HDMI right there. And they did have this little compartment. You know what? I think this is just for looks. I don't think this little compartment opens up. Yeah, I can't get that thing open. So they had this open up for itself, like a little attachment for Game Shark or whatever. At the time, it had a little box. USB connection. Nothing really fancy about it, but it got the look, but not exactly the feel for it. I wish they would like did more than the NES, SNES mini where it opens up. It'd been nice if they made some mini discs you could put, but that would cost more. But for what it is, it looks nice. They did right, with some of the stuff. Been nice. Well, if you never PSN magazine where they had the little smiley face stickers you could put on it, I wish that would came with like one small one to bring back some memories. I could pop it on it, but anyways, it's not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad. But it is what it is. It's $99.99. Some people wanted to go down lower now because there's only 20 games, but that's never mind. And the crazy thing is, the first time I played my PlayStation, well, not mine, but like played a PlayStation, was in Sears. Okay, and I didn't play no KDs, no other place, but Sears had a station for it, a little playable demo. You know, after some time they flipped it up and restarted. You know, they had Warhawk at the time. Warhawk ain't on this. Can you believe that? But anyway, Warhawk was playing. PlayStation was really pushing out 3D. We're talking about 3D games, and not the Sega CD type. But this has it, and we did it right. So I went up to, and this was in the female section. I don't know why. I guess, hey, they bring their kids. Kids be bored, so they be running around tearing things up. Let's put this here. But they put it all the way in the back, you know, of the clothing aisle in the corner. They didn't put it like by the shoe place. They put it way in the back, you know. So I was never discovering it. Well, you know, I didn't want to look with mom trying to buy some stuff, but I went over there, played it, and oh man, Warhawk was on my mind. I just wanted to go to that serious place to play it. I was never begging for it, and it was at the time Super Nintendo was already going out, but I had to have a new system. PlayStation wasn't my first choice. I wanted Atari Jaguar. I begged and begged for a new console. You know, I used to cut games and consoles out of the Sunday Best Buy paper. You know, well the paper, but the Best Buy section, and I taped it up to my door. Like, this is what I want. Christmas, my birthday, this is what I want. My mom never did that. She was pretty cheap. You know, she would give me the cheapest games that nobody wanted. My dad, on the other hand, knew what I wanted, but my mom, once again, wasn't going to allow him to buy me games. Sometimes it sneak like one, like every few years, whatever. You know, I had Art of Fighting on Easter. Crazy, right? But he snuck that in. Art of Fighting. I enjoyed that game. And one Christmas, yes, was the best. I finally, my mom listened to my dad, and she asked the store rep with some games to buy my son. And it was full price, 3 great games, and I'm gonna tell you that later on, you know. But this goes with the story. It's August, September. Toys R Us knew this was gonna be a huge thing, you know. Sorry, it already came out, but it was selling. And they had a deal. Turn in 10 SNES games, will knock half of the price off. You know, at the time it was like what, 199. Maybe it was a 299. No, it was 199, I believe, at the time. We'll knock 100 off. Or was it 50? I think it was 100. Yeah, we'll knock $100 off. You pay the rest, you know. At Toys R Us, and at the time I was like, man, I got this. I don't really play with the SNES at the time, and I made a bad call. At the time, I thought they made like good games, you know, mint games and all that. So I took care of my games. Okay, they were complete. They were in the box, the instruction manuals, all the good stuff. So I had 10 games. You know, I didn't have much games at the time, but I took care of my stuff, and I had just enough for that time. I was ready. I was like, Mama, I want to do this. My mama caved in. Okay, she tried to look for a Atari Jaguar. She couldn't find one. I'm glad she didn't, because that thing was expensive at the time. I didn't think it was that expensive, okay? But I really wanted it for, you know, the Aliens vs. Predator 1 and 2, and Doom. These were perfect ports, right? But somehow she couldn't find it. We didn't have no well, we had 3DOs, but I didn't want no 3DOs because, you know, Road Rash was just the only good game for it. I didn't really see no other games for it. And we didn't have TurboGrafx 16s that plays right. That's because Radio Shack had an exclusive deal, whatever. Well, it wasn't exclusive, but they had a deal where they would get the TurboGrafx 16 game, stuff, and we really didn't go to Radio Shack like that. But we went ahead. She listened. She was like, "It's time to get you something new." Amazing, right? And this deal is what caved in for her, you know. So I had enough games. Went up to Toys R Us. I gave the cashier the games for the system. They had enough systems. Like I said, it's been out already for a bit. And the game I wanted the most was Resident Evil. Resident Evil had just came out. I was huge on, you know, horror. Well, I'm still huge on, you know, but horror, mansions, you know, anything with mansion I love. So win-win, right? And then monsters, zombies. Oh man, zombies? Yes, win-win. And I was never looking at magazines and just staring at these, cutting it out, putting it on my door, just hoping she'd look at it. Finally, she caved in. You know, I think the system had came out like around April. So like, it's been out for a moment, right? I put all these pictures and all. She always ignored them, but finally, like I said, this deal is what did it. Just having the box. I would never give him these Super Nintendo games to the cashier. Cashier look at him, and he'll look at me and be like, "You're the only person who's actually brought in actual games, you know, in such nice condition. Are you sure you want to do this?" I was a kid. I didn't know no better. I was like, "Yeah, I want this PlayStation," you know. So I saw it was like about 6, 8 carts filled up with SSD games, just cartridges. And there was nothing but Super Mario Worlds, and you may see like some other side games, but a whole bunch of Super Mario Worlds. And I was like, you mean I could have just went to my friends and got their Super Mario Worlds and just gave like 6 of them at least? And he was like, yeah, people just giving this Super Mario World, you know, we don't care. We just probably gonna get destroy them, you know, afterwards, burn them or something. And I remember he took all these nice. I mean, I had like Super Metroid. I had Illusions of Gaia, how you want to say it. Donkey Kong Country, all mint. Like I said, everything in it. And he just picked it up and chucked it into a cart like it was nothing. And I wonder if I was like, I'm probably gonna regret it. A few years later, I did because like I said, at the time I was in a collector. You know, I took care of my stuff, but I wasn't big at the time about it, and I did regret them because some of the stuff I turned in is a little bit more, you know, to get back harder and more expensive now. But I was happy to get a PlayStation. Got home, I just held it, thinking like, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna get this. And then my mom hit me with the, "You're not getting this till Christmas. That's your Christmas present." And I'm thinking like, it's August or September. Christmas is this? Are you serious? I would never her taking it from me, putting it in her closet. Oh, that hurt. But I could always dream about Resident Evil and what it looked like, what it played like. You know, at the time we didn't have, you know, computer. Well, it took me forever to get a computer, but we didn't have like, you know, the internet like it is today. We didn't have YouTube. We had magazines, right? So you could just imagine what it was. Yeah, oh, man, I used to sneak whenever my mom would go to the store, or whatever, and look in the closet, pull that Super Nintendo out, look at it, look at the back at all the games they got listed on it, and then I look at the disc of Resident Evil, flip it open, like this going, oh, this the game. I think somehow my mom used to put like little hairs with tape on it, or I didn't pay attention or whatever, you know, one time, and she figured out I was going to the closet, so she decided she gonna gift wrap the PlayStation and Resident Evil, you know, oh, that was even worse, you know, that hurt. I really wanted to try to open them things, but you know, I don't want to try, you know, tear it or mess up something, you know, or she'll find a way, you know. Christmas came. Oh my God, that was such a great thing. I got the PlayStation, hooked it up. I never listened to the opening. Oh man, the classic opening. Put Resident Evil in, played it. Oh, I love that game so bad. You know, playing today is kind of weird because you know people, the kids today, be like, oh no, you gotta have super graphics and all this. It holds up, but it doesn't hold up like you know when you first got it, when the graphics was the best at the time, right? And then I got to the crank part, you know, with the boulder coming down, and I was like, it's late. It's like midnight, 1, you know, I gotta go to sleep. And so now I learned a lesson. I didn't know nothing about no memory cards, you know. And Nintendo, Super Nintendo, they never had no memory cards. Why the PlayStation got a memory card, you know? I ain't know nothing about no memory card. I ain't had no memory card. So I never like, how am I going to hold on to this game where it's at? I don't want to turn the system off. You know, this the trick we used to do back then. We used to leave the system running all night to the next day. But I had a blast with Resident Evil. You know, I didn't get a memory card till like maybe a month later or whatever. You know, memory card, like I said, they really took us for memory cards. You know, like 39.99 at the time. It was expensive, of course. It was expensive, you know, for a licensed one, but it took me a while. But Resident Evil really took me some time to beat. You know, and I loved it. Resident Evil became my favorite series game, my favorite in the series. You know. Um, but I could PlayStation has some really great games. I'll never get Warhawk as well with it. Well, later down the road, like not I just had Resident Evil. Okay, I had Resident Evil, probably the best game for me to get. Oh, these controllers, man! DualShock and DualShock 2, I beat it, but when these controllers came out, bruh, oh man, it just felt right. Now I got the HDMI cord, USB. I said, mod the hell out of this thing, but something that's crazy. They took a page out of Nintendo. No adapter. But I mean, I already buy like, these little cheap adapters for the NES Classic anyway. I'm pretty sure it fits, I got like an adapter that'll fit for it. A lot of people complain that PlayStation didn't put the games they wanted on it, but like I said, if they're able to do this, they'll be able to mod it, right? So it shouldn't be that hard. Something else that kind of concerned me that PlayStation missed completely, and that's even though it got HDMI cord hooking it up, they didn't do the right thing or the right way to make PlayStation exactly better. In fact, it's a little bit worse than when the PlayStation came out. Okay, that's because you're transitioning into the HDMI department or widescreen TVs, 4K TVs. They're not compatible like that. They don't have the old school TV look and how it was back then, composites and all, right? So instead of doing the 3-prong to the back of the TV, the red, white, and yellow, you got HDMI. So the only way they did it, they widened the screen out to match, right? And when you widen things, you gotta put in I can't think of it like an adapter for you, to match the 4K and the widescreen. But they didn't do it. They just widened the screen. That's it. And when you do that, you take out a lot of details and all. So that's why it looks a little bit worse than the actual PlayStation itself. I don't know why they did that, because one, remember when Blim came out and they said you're gonna have Dreamcast graphics with your PlayStation games, because at the time the developers kept in all that good stuff, the mist, good lighting in it, but PlayStation at the time, it was doing pretty good, but it couldn't admit all these extras that developers putting into it, so the games didn't have all this good stuff, right? But Blim brought it out. Blim, it looked so crisp, it brought better looking polish to it, right? It made the graphics look better. At the time, PlayStation couldn't have this. What they didn't understand is Blim was a failure because they couldn't. It was like going to be multiple downloads and like 99 games per whatever, and it's going to be a while. But they rushed it, and they didn't get exactly the same results. Some games didn't work, it was just a crazy idea concept, but they said they were going to get it right regardless. But PlayStation hit them with a lawsuit, and they couldn't do much, right? But what PlayStation did was they hired the two people, and that's how they made concepts. I mean, like if you ever saw what they done, they was going to make consistent emulator within it. So this is what backwards compatibility came in with the PS2. PS3 as well had a backwards compatibility because of this, and this is what a birthday where you could put extra stuff in it and trophies, right? So bring these two people in did a lot of goodness, right? So why didn't they bring that out with PlayStation Mini? They could fix this, but they had enough time to fix this, okay? So why did they leave it out? They rushed it. That's why. They rushed it for the holiday season. They rushed the concept out without taking a good look. So that's why it's a little bit worse than the actual PlayStation look. There's a lot of complaints about it. People cancel their pre-orders because of it. But like I said, I don't mind. Okay, I just want to play it. Eventually, like I said, I'm a collector. I'm gonna get the games later down the road anyway, right? That's a huge hit that Sony did. It's not like we're gonna have to download to fix that later on. Like a DLC type thing or whatever. But that's a huge negative. Why just stretch out the thing and not put an adapter for it? It don't matter for me. I'm still modded, play with the hell out of it. That is crazy, right? But that's a little story of I had with my PlayStation. The first few games I had was Warhawk, Twisted Metal, one, Ballerina Toshin, later down the road, you got that good stuff, you're able to. But I had so much fun with the PlayStation. Super Nintendo NES, I didn't get much good games. My mama didn't know, and my grandma used to just like, oh, you like horror games, and got me. the She used to give me what was it, Dr. Chicken, Mr. Hyde, Friday the 13th, highlights, some bad games, some horrible, cheap, bad games, right? Super Nintendo, I had a few good things, but it was pretty good because I could ball games, and I used to rent like crazy because at the time you could rent movies and games for 99 cents each, right? Before they boosted the price up to like $5 or whatever. But it's crazy, right? We brought back some good memories, but I mean, I'm play the hell out of it. I may complain about certain games and the graphics looking, but I can add this to collection. Okay. I hope Nintendo bring out the Mini 64. If not, I'm cool with it because like I said, I still collect things. Um, I hate that a lot of my retro games got stolen. My PS1, PS2, NES games I did have. Because I did keep some games. Okay, I kept my Final Fantasy 3 and 2, before it got stolen. But when I got my Earthbound stolen, that was that pain. Okay, I was one of the first people to talk about Earthbound. Get Earthbound, it was expensive. Had the big box, the guide, all that shit gets stolen. Excuse my language, but crazy, right? But let me know what you thought about the PlayStation. Tell me about your stories, like how you got the PlayStation. Okay, I'll never get the PlayStation, and I got the PlayStation 2 on the day it got released. Okay, so I'm happy about that. That's a whole nother story. But let me know some comments. Appreciate some likes if you choose to or not. But please subscribe. I can use the subscribers. Enjoy.